Story 1. Make a noise as I get up or down. I hated it when my mother did it. Now it is my turn. My body has absolutely fallen apart since I retired. Story 2. Leave a bar or restaurant if the music is too loud. Years of loud concerts in my youth have caused some bad tinnitus these days. Story 3. Wear unattractive shoes. My old arthritic feet do not care. Story 4. Not know what to do. Adults knew what to do. Surely I would too. I do not, in fact, know what to do. Ever, always, whatever. Where is the adult handbook and why did not I get my copy? I would like my money back. Story 5. I wonder to myself, am I the only one in this house who sees the mess? Story 6. Well, I signed the drug abuse resistance education paperwork saying I would never do drugs. Story 7. Adjust the thermostat and turn off unnecessary lights. Story 8. Say, we needed this rain, whenever it rains for the first time in a while. Story 9. For me, it was taking on debt. I had watched how debt accumulated and destroyed my family's mental well-being. I saw how it forced my dad to work harder to support us and pay the debts. I also witnessed them eventually giving up on living even a middle-class lifestyle and getting rid of things such as natural gas for the house. Now, I have taken on debt, albeit in what I think is a much more responsible way. Still, I swore I'd never do it, and now I am. Story 10. Sleep wrong. I used to criticize guys my age when they said they slept wrong. I was like, how do you mess up sleep? I do it daily now. Story 11. Doom scrolling. I was not that young when I declared I was going to resist, and I did not adhere to that trend for a good while. But when I did, well, damn. Story 12. As a child, I was surprised that my parents and adults in general preferred watching the news more than cartoons. In my mind, I thought, but this is super cool and very funny. Why aren't they excited about this? I told myself that I would never watch the news. Now I have given up cartoons and I sit and watch the news while I drink my coffee. I am getting older. Story 13. Get up early on the weekends. Now I live for that 6 o'clock cup of coffee on Sunday mornings. Story 14. I live past 25. I had a lot of suicidal thoughts when I was younger, and I promised myself that I wouldn't live past 25. Needless to say, I did not follow through with that, and now I live past 25 every day. And yes, despite my flippant attitude, this is a serious response. Please stop upvoting this out of sympathy. This was not some epic triumph of the human spirit in the face of depression. I just couldn't find a method that wasn't excruciatingly painful or carried an unacceptable risk of permanent injury and poor quality of life if I failed. Story 15. Tell my children no. My mother never said yes, so I swore I would not say no. Needless to say, I have 2 children and work in preschool. So no is a word I use every 5 seconds. Story 16. Stay in on a Friday night. Now I need an unbelievably amazing reason to leave home after 9 p.m. on any night, never mind Friday night. Story 17. Become out of touch. Now, at the age of 31, I have to look up YouTuber slang on Urban Dictionary and do not really care for much of the more recent mainstream music. Story 18. Nope. 5-year-old me resented the heck out of one of adult me's greatest treats. Story 19. Swear. When I was little, I told myself I would be different and never swear. Now I do it all the time. Story 20. When I was younger, the saying was, don't trust anyone over 30. Now, it seems ridiculous. I don't really trust anyone. I always promised myself to stay open-minded. Age changes you. As I enter my last year of my 60s, I am struck by how ineffectual our generation was. Story 21. Worry about money constantly. Financial insecurity is one paycheck away for most people, myself included. Now that it is just me paying the bills, I wake with anxiety as soon as I open my eyes in the morning. I am not living beyond my means. I just do not make enough to support a household alone. Story 22. Weirdly, I am sleeping late. I was always an early riser, even as a child and teenager, but now I have started sleeping in. My body just seems to need more sleep, and I do not like it. I am going to get checked by the doctor and then force myself to get up earlier. I am much more productive that way. Story 23. fall asleep in the old lazy boy. Watched my father do it for years and used to laugh at him. Now I find myself doing it on a semi-regular basis. Story 24. Smoke weed. In high school, I wrote a 2-year sociology paper on the harms of marijuana. I worked for the sheriff's office and nearly became a police officer. My goal was to be a United States Air Marshal. I got fired and, in less than a year, became one of the biggest dealers of wax in southern Maryland for about 10 months. I smoked copious amounts of marijuana and grew it. Story 25. Drinking green and black tea. I used to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and members are not supposed to drink those teas. Story 26. Complain about noise. Feel territorial. Hands on hips walking my property. Dislike streetlights. Go to bed by 9 o'clock sharp. Wear comfortable shoes regardless of appearance. Story 27. I hurt myself for the sake of my appearance. When I was a kid, I was completely baffled by how many women would remove hair from their legs, faces, and other areas. I remember learning about Victorian beauty standards, lead-based makeup, and tight-lacing corsets, and feeling horrified. Then I started skipping lunch in high school, which slowly led to skipping multiple meals a day, making myself throw up, abusing laxatives, and even trying to give myself a tapeworm just so I could lose more weight. Now I have been struggling with an eating disorder for 8 years, and it has taken over my life. Story 28. So far, I have been good at not hoarding things for the most part. On rare occasions, however, I save items that I know are useless and that I will never use or rarely look at. Instead of throwing them away, I keep them. I need to get rid of these things so I do not develop full-blown hoarding syndrome. Story 29. Cook vegetables for my family. When I was a child, I hated my mother's cooking when she served vegetables. I decided that if I ever got married and had children, I would serve them nice things like cookies. Story 30. My parents would make all the kids in the car be quiet and would turn off the car radio so they could concentrate on the road. I do the same now. My kids don't understand why I do it. Story 31. Basically, being a hard worker. When I was a kid, I was adamant about wanting people to do everything for me. Nowadays, I constantly ask others if they need help, and I often refuse help. It is half because I do not want to be a burden, and half because I actually enjoy doing work now. Story 32. Use because I said so as a reason. It is not all the time, and it was never present when he was very small, but I realized with my own healing and growth that no really is a full sentence. Further justification is not necessary but can be explained at a later and appropriate time. Because I said so is not a reason specifically, but it is complete and does not need justification if the occasion does not call for it. Story 33. Nag, watch the news, go to bed early, complain about noise, lower the volume to see better, start a sentence with kids nowadays. Look for coupon deals, sacrifice fashion for comfort, need preparation H, hold on to something when getting up from my knees. I thought grown-ups were so weird, boring, miserable, and crazy for doing all these things. Story 34. Not joking, have sex. I was very insecure for a long time and raised in a toxic religious household. I do not have sex with every person I meet, but I swore I would only have sex when I was married. That definitely did not happen. Story 35. Complain about those kids and their loud cars. Surprisingly, when all the noisy teenagers walk to the park, I smile and wish them well because they are just a bunch of zany kids living in the moment. Ignore those other people and their loud cars. They can go away. Story 36. Go to bed early or take naps. I love both of them now. Story 37. Live? I was certain I would end my life before 19. Then I kept moving the goalposts. I'm still moving them and, if I am honest, I still feel bad about it, like a failure for not doing what was right or what I should have. Growing up lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender in a world that desperately wants you to believe this is the worst thing you can be affects people more than you realize. If you are one of those people who casually use homophobic or transphobic slurs and think it is funny or just words, please stop. Story 38. Early bedtimes and no rowdy parties. Glad I had them when I did. Might have one again eventually, but I remember saying to my best friend, "This is so amazing. I don't understand why older people in their 30s do not have parties like this. Let's keep doing it forever. Story 39. Alcohol. I never drank except in social settings before age 27. I moved for a job to a state far away, had a girlfriend who cheated, experienced massive family trauma that is still ongoing, and began drinking constantly. It is better now than it was, but it is still too much. In terms of mortality, it is too much. How long does it take for consuming 10 to 20 units of alcohol a day to cause fatal damage? At this point, I am using supplements to mitigate the harm because I am unable to quit. These include vitamin B, theanine, taurursodiaxic acid when no alcohol is in the system, Liv52, N-acetylcysteine, and milk thistle. Fingers crossed it is working. My father has a severe drinking problem, and my grandmother died from it. At least I am not destroying the people around me while I do it, I suppose. Today I consumed 5 9.5% beers and 3 Tallboy White Claw beverages. I have not bought hard liquor since the COVID-19 pandemic for obvious reasons. Story 40. I swore I would never act old. And here I am, talking about my various health problems, repeating stories, mentioning how things were back in the day, groaning as I get off the couch and needing a nap. But I also watch popular shows and share the titles with my adult children. I wear blue jeans, I'm up to date on technology, I like new foods, my house is stylish, and I'm not entrenched in politics. My body is getting older than my mind, in other words. Story 41. Weed, so much cannabis. I can't sleep without it. My insomnia is legendary and has always been something I've struggled with my whole life. I've tried a range of sleep medications and experienced nasty side effects every time. I also have severe fibromyalgia, and it is the only thing that helps. Story 42. Drive a minivan. Not only that, but I have one child. It's fully loaded, and I've never paid over $100 to fill it up. I don't have to worry about my child swinging the door open and damaging someone else's car. We can also camp in it. I can fit a 90-inch couch in the back. We use it every year like a limousine to go out with friends and their kids to see Christmas lights. Also, it's a Toyota, so it's a decade old and has 150,000 miles on it, and it's still solid as a rock engine-wise. My only complaint is it looks like a rolling white crusty dog turd. We call it Moby Dick, but we should really call it 90s dog turds before they fixed the food and white turds stopped. Also, I am really cool. Not in the popular girl sense, but in the sense that I have lived. I've done some incredibly unique and fun things. I'm also an alternative girl. I've had hearses, a 1969 Corvette, a 1969 Oldsmobile, a rock crawler, and a cafe racer. Right now, my other ride is a 1974 154 big block El Camino, red with black racing stripes. But at the end of the day, you almost always see me rolling around in the big white turd. Story 43. I like loud country and Western music when I am drinking. I never thought my 20-something self would. Story 44. Cursing? I was a good girl and a good example to the rest. But now, even if I did it unintentionally, my surroundings automatically affect me. Story 45. Get a girlfriend. I always liked being single and having the freedom to do whatever I wanted whenever I wanted. But it is so much better with her. I have a companion for life, hopefully. I have genuinely noticed that I feel happier and less empty with her in my life. Story 46. Complain about all the things that are wrong with my body. Story 47. Drive like an elderly person. Speeding tickets are unpleasant. I lost a friend in a car accident, and that changed my perspective significantly. Nothing is worth driving that fast. Story 48. I am 60 and exercise daily now. I was never a gym person and always regulated my intake, but my job kept me active. I am not working as much now, and I have found that I am physically sore and in more pain just from daily living if I cannot walk my daily steps. I am also not a big stretcher. After recent yearly blood work, it has made significant improvements in my good cholesterol and has really improved and kept my blood sugar stable as well. Walking has made a huge and noticeable difference in everything from increased energy to making it easier to fall asleep. Story 49. Smoking was something I hated growing up, but I started in my teens. It is a stupid, horrible habit. Story 50. Spend most evenings relaxing in front of the television rather than going out socializing and seeking romantic encounters. Story 51. Working a corporate job. I wanted to travel and see the world. I felt like I could actually do some good and change the planet. Instead, I am sitting in front of my laptop every day, pretending to be agile when what I am actually doing is sitting through another meeting where we discuss what was discussed in the previous meeting to prepare for other topics in the next meeting. I had to make a choice at some point and promised myself 1 to 2 years maximum. It has been 10 years now. Every day feels the same as the previous one. Story 52. Take my pants off the moment I get home. I am a woman. I never understood the trope of taking pants off the moment a man gets home or is alone on television. I get home and instantly remove my pants, leaving on a pair of men's boxers and a plain cotton t-shirt. I totally get it now. Story 53. Weed. No regrets though. It works for me for what I use it for. Story 54. Teen me. 9 p.m. is for grandparents. Adult me. If I'm not in bed by 10, I'm a zombie. Story 55. I have lost weight this year and take the weight loss injections, which could be a contributing factor in the opposite direction for me. Congratulations on your success. Story 56. I was always a night owl, but now not so much. 8 p.m. bedtime sounds better and better as the years go on. Story 57. Listen to jazz. I used to hate anything that was not rock or punk music, but now I am a jazz enthusiast. That is how I knew I was getting old. Story 58. Say no to late-night hangouts when I have work the next day. I used to be more adventurous. Now I am just lame. Story 59. Buying my kids items just to keep them quiet for 15 minutes. Sometimes you just need to buy silence. Story 60. Well, I swore I would never say I am too tired to hang out or try something new, but now I say it more than I would like to admit. I thought adulthood meant freedom and not fatigue, but now I realize rest is not laziness. It is part of survival. So give yourself some time to recharge. Story 61. I swore I would not become a teacher, and now I am teaching all the time. Story 62. Say things to my son that my father said to me, like classic dad jokes. Son, I'm hungry. Me. Nice to meet you, hungry. Me. Story 63. I have no idea. I thought teenagers were foolish even when I was one myself. I am not sure if I have ever done anything I truly regretted. Everything has always had a core purpose. Even being drunk at parties and clubs has a purpose. Story 64. Praise the Lord when plans are canceled and it means I no longer need to socialize. Story 65. We used to make fun of my dad's girlfriend because she woke up every day at 6 in the morning. No alarm was needed. It did not matter when she went to bed. She was just awake at 6. Now I am old, and I wish I could sleep that late. I was wide awake at 4:30 in the morning today and most days awake before 5. 6 o'clock would be sleeping in for me. Story 66. Talk sense to a teenager. I know it does nothing. I just cannot help it. Story 67. Intentionally set an alarm between 3 and 4 a.m. so I can enjoy my coffee and read for a few hours before work. Story 68. Complain about the younger generation and genuinely mean it. Story 69. Get excited for back to school. I hated school so much as a kid. I swore when I was older and had children that I still would not want summer to end or my children to go back to school. Yes, I am very excited for these kids to go back. Story 70. Yelling or complaining at the television. I remember how horrified I was to observe my grandfather do it when I was younger. I give myself extra credit if I can cite verbatim what the phrases were. One example is when he would watch commercials for treating constipation. He would laugh and say, "Why don't you blast?" Story 71. Wear Crocs. I still cannot stand how they look, but they are very comfortable. Story 72. Complaining about the music that young people listen to today. Story 73. I thought I would never get a credit card or, if I did, never put items on it that I could not pay cash for. I watched credit cards destroy my family and my sister. Now I am putting groceries on a credit card because no matter how I budget, I just cannot make ends meet right now, and I make $20 an hour. Story 74. I stopped drinking a few years ago because I started getting bored with it. Story 75. Yes, I agree with others' ugly slip-on shoes. When I bought my first pair, my wife asked me, "You are an alien who abducted my husband. Where is he?" Story 76. I despised chores as a child. Now, I get excited to use the good vacuum cleaner I bought for the house since getting a dog. Story 77. Complain about subpar accommodations when traveling. I always used to consider myself as someone who can rough it and stay anywhere. No, that was for my 20s. In my 40s now, I require some basic amenities. Story 78. Taking naps. As a child, I thought they were pointless and swore I would never sleep during the day. But now I look forward to an afternoon nap whenever I have the chance. Story 79. Raise children with an iPad. That is just lazy parenting. Then I became a parent, and it is very much a go watch your iPad kind of day. My tolerance for limiting screen time is directly related to my patience level for the day. Story 80. I dislike younger people, though I dislike older people more. Actually, I think I just dislike people. Story 81. I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what I am with is not it, and what it is seems weird and scary to me, and it will happen to you too. Ab Simpson. Never thought I would relate to this quote, to be honest. Story 82. Smoke cigarettes. My mother smoked, and I resented her for that. As soon as I moved out, I started smoking. I am currently trying to quit. Story 83. Smoke cannabis. I used to be more straight-edged than a razor. Story 84. I am the snobby old lady who is impatient with everyone. It is due to a brain injury, but no one can tell by looking at me. Story 85. Be a conservative. It just occurred to me the other day that I am. Story 86. Marijuana. I don't smoke or vape it anymore, though. I put it in food or drinks. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.